This video is going to focus on the timeline stuff specifically. So I present to you timeline number 1. In this timeline, nobody goes back in time. Jace survives the snowstorm, guessing his mother dies. Victor forms a commune, ends up making the world he envisioned before Jace blew a hole through his chest, still ends up being fields of dreamless solitude, and Victor confirms this in his speech at the end.
I thought I could bring an end to the world's suffering. All that remained were fields of dreamless solitude. There is no prize to perfection, only an end to pursuit.
This has to be the case because Evolved Victor's existence cannot be a requirement for Evolved Victor to exist. Like if there is no cookies, but you need a cookie to get a cookie, you'll never get a cookie. So there's one timeline where Victor doesn't go back in time. Jace still somehow becomes fixated on Arcane. He creates Hex Tech. Perhaps in this timeline, he thinks that the Arcane could have saved his mother. That's just me guessing. We still end up with this commune Victor, and he's the one who's shifting timelines. He's not in his timeline anymore. He comes to a different timeline to present Victor with this message. Now, what do I mean by shifting timelines? I mean that every time he goes back and gives Jace a new rune, that becomes a new timeline. It doesn't disintegrate or delete his original timeline because that's a timeline that made him him. He can't go back in time and change the past. To change the future in his timeline, that future has already happened. When you change the past, you create a new separate timeline, divergent from the original timeline that includes that past event. Anyways, the no time travel timeline is the timeline this Victor comes from, and this place he brings Jace to is not that timeline. Like I was saying, you can't change the future by going back to the past. It doesn't change the future, it creates a new timeline.